That's so tough. Everybody, this hate is so wrong, Reese. I'm gonna let you have it though, because your Eagles has been losing for quite some time.
Yeah,
so
I know, and
you gotta take your anger out on somebody that you can't take it out.
That's how you want to start, so I just said.
I mean, I get it. I can't be mad at it. I can't be mad at it. I appreciate you for starting to hit, for keeping that energy going. I appreciate
it. Just understanding, brother. There's two of us in here, Trey.
No, I still no. Because matter of fact, I actually watched one of the episodes we did, and I still remember the joke. I had to go back at you and everything too. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all not peeping, that's the reason why he got a hat on today. You know what I'm saying? Last time I went at his hair, and now he wearing a hat on.
And I love it. My girl think I'm sexy as hell, but I'm taking it off.
Clearly.
Ball head.
Nick said clearly, because he is pregnant.
Ball head.
She got evidence.
My hairline's still by my eyebrows. Hey, Trey.
Oh, you said what?
Oh, that's wild.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. And as y'all can see, look, we got a couple fellas on the screen. We're going to do this in order, though, because, every time I say, how y'all doing, fellas, nobody wants to just take the ball and roll with it, so I got started off proper. Reese, how's everything doing with you, man?
Hey, man, Reese here. Reese Money. Had the honey. I'm here. Let's go.
Clearly, we're working on our intros. It's okay. We might come back with another intros.
I think that might stick, though. I'm going to be honest. I think that one might stick.
Yeah, pun intended? Is that a pun intended? Because honey sticky.
Honey stick. Thank you, Trey.
We tried to help him out. Jordan, save him. How's everything with you?
Hey, man, life is good. Life's amazing. It's Jordan. What's happening? Simple shit.
That's good, my boy. Brandon, what's new with you, man? I'm about to say, did you do any workouts? Because I'm about to say, last time you was a little puffy a little bit, like you was hesitant.
Yeah, man. All is well, bro. All is well. Right. I'm energized.
That's the bad. We about to get good energy from Brandon today. That's why I heard, ladies and gentlemen, y'all ain't gonna hear no down, no slanderous, no down and about. That he's gonna be upbeat the entire time. That's what I heard. Nick, my guy, I just saw you the other day. How's everything with you, man?
Yeah, appreciated you having me back on.
I told you you're gonna have to come back on, bro, because you know what I'm saying. You follow the stats, you know what I mean? Like Eric, we gonna need the stats references at some point in time. Again, ladies and gentlemen, stats aren't all things in basketball, but they do tell the story sometimes when you add context to it. So he is gonna be a little bit valuable for us today, per usual. But fellas, if y'all about ready, I think we got the intros and the blases out of the way. Y'all want to get into the show? Take us time to say yes. So I guess we already got to start it with this. Eagles losing. Reese, how you feeling, bro? Like, it's just, I'm playing. We're going to go with the referees. Do we need to ref the referees, ladies and gentlemen? And I'm sorry, just gentlemen. I was thinking more so crowd when I said that. Jordan, let's start this off with you. Should we worry about the referees? Are they taking away from the NBA game? Because we've seen a couple of ejections. Coaches, players, talk to me. What's your stance on this?
I think that refs have absolutely taken away from and borderline controlling games at certain moments. A little too much. I think their hand is a little too deep into how it's played. Like, for example, you got a guy like Scott Foster. Chris Paul done lost 21 games to a referee. Like, at some point, we got to not just discuss it with a press conference, but we need to start finding some folks. We start firing some folks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Guys like Scott, man, if you can't kick them out, kick them up, something. Because they don't need to be on the court. Because we're getting a lot of texts for players protecting themselves. Like on those dunk swings, stuff like that. Like the refs said, they have too much in the game, in my opinion. They need to be, if a player can get ejected and fined for calling a ref out his name, a ref should be able to at minimum be fined for letting his emotions get onto the court.
Okay. Now, I want to pull this to the group here, because to Jordan's point as well, NBA players get demoted, right? They get fined. We talk about them on Twitter all the time. You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, should we start sending some of these referees to the G League, to college, to stuff like that? Should that be a situation that we just start entertaining a lot more so, and then bringing referees up? Is that the case for you boys?
I don't know about that.
Okay, well,
I feel like the pace.
Reese?
I feel like the pace of the game. Like I feel like I feel like you can send somebody down. I think. Well, I guess. I mean, based on the hierarchies, I guess. Like if you're pulling somebody from the G League to coach to ref the NBA, maybe. But like it can only be like, I guess, one step movements. Like I wouldn't send a guy. I know Jordan. I don't know if Jordan was joking or not. I wouldn't send a guy from the NBA to high school. That's a. But I mean, even I feel like sending them to college. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the ref. I don't think sending them or changing where they're reffing is going to be like a real penalty, because they're still reffing. They still get to control the game as they please. It's not like, you know what I mean. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. I don't think that really changes anything for them.
Okay. I mean, I guess because my thing is this too. We slander NBA players so much, and if an NBA player is struggling, we send him to the G League or talk about trading him or getting rid of that player. So I think when we're talking about the NBA, I do want to put a little bit more accountability on players, on coaches, on owners, on referees. Like it is a business, and you
suspend them without pay.
That's tough. Now that's tough.
I mean, that's what
I don't want to affect people's pockets too much. Now, when I'm talking about that demotion, I feel like you already losing money. And that's
they don't care. Like, look, I understand that refs ain't getting paid as much as NBA guys,
and that's the reason. Yeah,
and that's also a reason I don't care, because I ain't get paid as much as me. So if we come into work like with issue like Scott, like for example, Scott Farr is just the easiest case to bring up, because he just got a problem with the number 3. People talk about how he used to ref AI horribly. Now it's Chris Paul. Like him and 3 just don't go together too well. Like, why is that Scott Foster can be a ref for the last 20 years, and we know that he's consistently having issues with players?
Okay.
Like, why are we having him ref the finals when that player's in the finals? Okay. If we know that player hasn't won a game against that ref in 7 years. Like, it's at some point, you know what I'm saying, ejections, when they eject a player, they're affecting the player's pockets.
Yeah, and you're affecting the fans' experience as well. So I get you on that part too. Brandon, what's your stance on these refs, bro? Like, do you feel like they should be demoted from, let's say, NBA to high school, or do you think they should lose a game without pay or something like that? What's your stance on this?
I feel like every situation varies. I know with Scott Foster, it's something deep. I'm not sure what exactly the details are, but I know it's something deep with Chris Paul, his family too. So, I mean, I guess, suspension without pay, I guess would be the only way to go about it. I wouldn't say demote them to a lower level, but I mean, at the same time, even though he does have these problems, he still is a very popular ref. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people know him. So yeah, it's tough. You know what I mean? It's tough because I don't really know how you can go about situations like this other than, I guess, having those refs avoid games with specific players. But I mean, it's tough because they definitely don't make nearly the amount that the players make. So
right, and that's my issue too. I don't want to hit their pockets too much, but again, if we're gonna be fair, then that should be a route to go as well. Nick, what's your thoughts on these refs, bro? They're taking the entertainment and love from the game of basketball for you. What's your thoughts?
So yes, but I wouldn't blame the referees for that. A lot of that direction in what they give technicals for comes from the top. It comes from the commissioner or the competition committee, the owners, telling them what they should call as a technical. And that has gotten a lot tighter. But the worst thing you can possibly do is make any kind of repercussions towards those officials public if you're trying to take the focus away from the officials. Making it apparent to the public that we're sending them down, suspending somebody without pay. That's happened, as far as I'm aware, once in recent history with Joey Crawford and Tim Duncan laughing on the bench in that whole situation. And that blew up in the NBA's face from a PR perspective. So I wouldn't make any of that kind of thing public. I'm sure that it happens where somebody gets, some ref that we've never heard of, performs poorly one year and isn't there the next. But to everybody's point, it also has become a bit of a boys' club where it's the same people who have sort of connections with the NBA for a long time who probably should have been out years ago, but they're there because they always have been. And but most of that direction from what people complain about this year, which is way too many ejections, which I agree with, comes from the top and people going, "Don't let them yell at the refs," which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah,
No, I agree as well. You can't yell at the refs. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
But
nothing.
the refs used to be able to yell back. They used to really like go at each
I
other.
don't know why you said used to, because I feel like they still can. Like,
Well, no, but I'm saying, yeah,
They
but I'm
don't,
saying,
though.
like, it was more,
and it's
it
a
was
problem.
more like, it
It
was
was
a
a
lot
back and
bigger.
forth. It was a
Yeah.
dialogue instead of like Trae Young, for example. There was one recently where he barks at the ref, gets no reaction, turns around, comes back, barks at him again, and then sarcastically claps, and then gets thrown out of the game. And it's just like,
or
there should
or
be some
Jokic.
talent there.
Yeah, like Jokic said motherfucker apparently, and I you would have thought he called someone the N word. I'm like,
Jaylen Brown got ejected.
You know another language. Curse
National
the another
MVP.
language.
Jaylen Brown
Like-
got ejected walking to the bench. Like,
Yeah.
they ejected him while he was going to sit down. Like, literally putting his warm up on him was like, you might as well just take that warm up to the locker room. From across the court, though.
The one
Yeah,
that
like, from
pisses
across
me
the
off
court.
as a ref myself is when the player bounces the ball inaccurately to a ref, and just because Jordan Poole, for example, that's the first pass he's thrown all game is to the ref. So like, you can't get mad at him for being rusty. Like, don't give him a tech because he's rusty.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like what was JJ? Like spun the ball. He had a little animosity to it, but it's not tech worthy, bro. Like you,
But
just
they're
catch
told
the
to
ball
call that.
that deep. Exactly.
They're told to call that.
Okay.
It's not the ref ball.
See, I'm now curious. Nick, you mentioned earlier they're like they're getting their orders from like the top, right, management. But then sometimes I've talked with Jordan and I, we've had a discussion. Sometimes the refs just come up scary, dog. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. You look at someone about 6'4" plus, maybe a little diesel, and you think they about to beat that tail if you call the wrong call. It's like, we got to get them type of people out of the league. I'm sorry. Like, and I think one thing we could do is start bringing back some of these old heads and making them refs. I think that's how you give back to the game. You don't have to do that every season. You could, but I think that's some way that you keep your current or your former players employed and give them and give back from that standpoint. So I think that's one thing the NBA should definitely harp on and focus on. Like, I love when Richard Jefferson was a referee. I don't know if he's been one since, but like that little step was pretty cool. So I think that should be happening. But do y'all? So just for clarification, and I still feel like we should go ahead and penalize the refs. Do y'all have y'all changed y'all mind? Any Jordan? Have you changed your mind?
No, I think they should. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think they should.
In Brandon, just for clarification, you said you landed on blame the ref or fine the refs or no?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Okay, got you. And Nick, you might be on an island from what it sounds like. Then, if I'm not mistaken, you're saying don't fine the refs.
Well, I think he was saying don't do it publicly.
Don't do it publicly.
They're saying don't do it publicly.
Just don't do it.
I'm saying like we should not be aware if any of those things are happening. Like, we should not be aware of those things because we're trying to take the focus off of them, not more.
Okay, all right, that's a bet. That's a bet then. I might be okay with that one. Okay, all right. So then, with that being said, then we got to talk about we got to talk about this, right? Because refs obviously matter in the game of basketball. I think sometimes they can get in the way, right? For example, in this whole Ime versus Braun situation, I personally thought the refs got in the way too daggone much because I thought the refs, I thought Braun and Ime were just having a conversation. And again, just clarification, it was about when Ime said, "Hey, Braun, y'all got to stop bitching." Long story short, or stop acting like bees. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's too aggressive. And I don't think that's ejection worthy. Now, Nick, well, I think we ended with you last time, so we'll start with you this time. What's your thoughts on this? On this standpoint, one, were the referees right to kind of break up the situation, and then two, who would you have had in that disagreement? Like, who was more right in that situation, Braun or?
So the double technical is a tool that refs use a lot to calm a situation, and ironically, it can sometimes have the opposite effect. But in this case, both of them absolutely deserve the tech. So somebody was quick enough with their phone to record it and give us the audio. What spurred the tech was, pardon my language here, Ime saying, "Do something, motherfucker!" Like you ain't gonna.
Exactly.
You cannot challenge a player to a fight and not receive a tech. Like you can't. Like, that's the easiest. Like Tony Brothers casual. Like, wait a minute.
I don't know. Yeah, I personally thought it was. I personally thought there was more static between Cam and Eason on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have put my focus more so on that. But I don't know. That's tough. Brandon, how you feeling about this one, bro? What's your thoughts on this?
I do think both techs were appropriate. It was obvious that LeBron was feeling offended. So I feel like the ref came in at the right time. Even though I personally, if I was a ref, I wouldn't have called it tech. But I do think in that situation, just considering Bron's feelings, the situation, preventing it from going any further than what it was, I think the tech was appropriate. So, I mean, you can't, taunt a player like that and indirectly call him the B word. You know what I mean? Multiple times at that. So.
Yeah. And I do hear that part too. Like in terms of the refs stopping it before anything escalated, right? Like we thought of Mouse in the Palace, stuff like that. I don't think it would have gotten that egregious, obviously, but that's you want to prevent something like that. So I get that standpoint. Again, I don't think them brothers were going to do anything on the court. On the sideline during the game, that's going to be a little tough. But you said it was appropriate though. So I mean, I hear you from that standpoint as well. Reese, do you differ from these fellas here, or
what happened to the old fashioned? You go back to your bench and you go back to your bench. Let's just diffuse. I mean, it's a coach. It's for one thing. It's LeBron James. We all know LeBron is not gonna fight a coach. Period. He's the face of the league. He said I mean, we're talking about two guys who also played with each other. So there's the competitive edge in that sense as well. But it's like, Bron, go to your bench. Ime, you're already at your bench, so sit your ass down. And like you said, can we focus on the players that are also at each other's neck right now on the court? I don't know. I just think it won't. I mean, I just look at two old heads like going at each other. I'm like, Bron is the same. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, Ime's a young coach, right? But he's also like the same age as Bron. So it's like it's just two grown men kind of just like mature, man. Knowing that there's a time and place for everything. And like, we're really not about to do this here. Like, we're really not about to do this here.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I think if this was all right, so throw Isaiah Stewart instead of Braun. All right, maybe you want to, hey, bro, like even still, actually, now that I think about it, go to your bench. Just you go to your bench. Ejecting Ime Udoka for what still? Because now my question is,
had he already received the tech? He had already received the tech, so I mean that's just kind of how it goes. When you get caught in that double technical situation, it's kind of like it is what it is. You had already got a tech. You shouldn't have did what you did, coach. I mean,
right? It's a warning.
I hear that. Yeah. I hear that too because of the double tech. But still, I'm like I'm recognizing again. Just go back to your corners. This is the face of the league. This isn't something where I'm going to issue out an ejection. Like this is, I want to say an abuse of power. Like I don't know that I think the NBA definitely. This is a finable offense to me personally. Jordan, what's your thoughts on this, bro?
My thoughts are very similar to John Reese. Took the words right out of my mouth. Because it's funny. When Nick was talking about the audio, the quote was wrong. He said, "Why you walking over here like you gonna do something, motherfucker?" Which is not a threat. That's a question. But
it's low key still a taunt though, because if somebody takes this, they're like, "Oh,
he
word, I
walked
got
over
you."
there. He was on the other side of the court. Didn't have to walk over. Secondly,
Right,
in that audio, right? Nobody picked up words from the referee. The referee's just standing there with his whistle, watching these two men talk it out until he decides, you know what, that's enough. 2005, we've had audio of refs talking to AI, refs talking to whoever, right? And saying some colorful things, but some things to get them to disperse.
Right.
Like in a situation like that where we have a coach who already has a team, right? Mm-hmm. And it's him and Bron. Both these guys is 50-year-old men, right? Ain't nobody about to duke it out on national television, right? So you got two 50-year-old brothers over here having this conversation that maybe they shouldn't be having, but there's a respectable distance between them. The moment they start saying something that makes you uncomfortable, hey, I need y'all to disperse or I'm calling them. Especially knowing that the coach already has me. Yep. Like you just threw a man out over a colorful conversation, knowing damn well that there have been many a colorful conversation between coaches and players over the history of the game that ain't nobody been teed up or thrown out for. So in that situation, the ref needs to do his job, not blow a whistle, but instead of abusing his power through blowing the whistle, using his power to diffuse the situation. Ain't nobody being held back. They both standing there within their own facilities. Nobody swinging their hand. They're just using some words. You go over here. You go over there. Let's move. Ref ain't say nothing. He just sat there and held his whistle until it was time for him to call tech. Which is the kind of call that decides a basketball game.
That is true.
There needs to be punishment for that publicly. If he can publicly kick out a player, publicly tee up, that needs to be punished publicly.
And that's why I said, too, I think that this should be a finable offense because, again, this could easily be reviewed and say, well, all right, Mr. Ref, why didn't you X, Y, and Z do X, Y, and Z? And if there's enough X, Y, and Zs that weren't done, I don't know. That should be public. Like, that's just me. Like, Nick, I do hear you because it puts more eyes on the referees. And you want to take the eyes off the referees to a degree, but I do want to put a little spotlight on them. So if I make this one, like some calls need to be put on Front Street. And I think this should have been, because also it sets an example for other referees now and lets the players know, okay, well, this is the line in the sand. You can do this, but you can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there should be a constant formula in place, if you will. And I don't like the direction we're going with the referees, like you guys were talking about earlier. We're kind of giving too much power to the referee. I wouldn't say it's taking away the entertaining aspect for me, but it can, though, from an NBA game, too. So, like, imagine crunch time. We got KD versus Braun, and one of them get ejected because the NBA ref don't like how one of them is talking to him right now. And it's a very passionate moment. Like, I'm going to be a little tight about that. So, yeah. But it sounds like, though, the technical could have been called, might not have been. It's understood maybe, but still the rest could have done a better job, at least in terms of like handling that situation. Is that fair to say, fellas?
I think we just want less ejections. Less ejections for what seemingly to a like common viewer would seem petty. Like it seems like petty things. Like when Steph Curry threw his mouthpiece at the referee, you gotta go. You gotta go. I mean, you threw your mouthpiece at the referee. You have to go. Or like Jaylen Brown said, he felt like his first ejection was going to end in like him like tussling with a guy. He was like, he felt like he didn't get his money's worth. Like he felt like he should have at that point should have tussled with somebody if he was going to get kicked out for just saying words that weren't really even directed at anybody. Because like I said, he was walking to the bench and the referee was on the other side of the court.
Do you guys think we should go to, like, considering our standards for attacks, maybe we should have 3 techs in ejection instead of 2? Because I feel like what deserves a tech is correct right now, but I feel like having 2 and then you're gone is a little...
Can I just say real quick, what if we did like how there's flagrant 1, flagrant 2, tech 1, tech 2, that type of thing, where it's like, if you get, you know what I mean? Yeah, if you get like 3 tech 1s,
because Jokic got thrown out.
Yeah, but if you get like 2 tech 2s, you know what I mean?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
What would constitute a tech 2 then? What would constitute a...
I don't even... So, if I can...
Now, is it a ref?
Like, I think that not even that. I just think that we need to go back to having favoritism with star players when it comes to techs and fouls. Like, and mind you, I've reffed, right? And I've hooped, right? And you appreciate it, right? So I've reffed and I've hooped. You don't throw out a star player. Like, I'm talking, he on foul number 5, right? He on foul number 5. He tapped somebody's wrist on a rip through. That's not what we're getting this star player out of the game for. With 2 minutes left, and they down 5. Well, because you understand the game, you know who's playing, right? So when we got $60 million, $50 million guys on the court, coaches on the court, they having a conversation. Let's look at the business of basketball for a second in this game. Hey, you go over here, you go over there. Like, there are certain moments where it can be techable, but it's him. Like, I don't like we go through some hardwood classics. Mike AI Cove and said some stuff to refs that I wouldn't say in front of them. And they definitely still finished that game because it was Mike Cove, AI, Kevin Garnett, who we talking about smashing people's lives. Like, when there's certain guys that are involved in these altercations, the ref has to just tell y'all to go sit down somewhere or it's gonna be a good night. Before just going, okay, cool, good night. Like, there's a pecking order to it, bro. Like, hey, throw Ish Smith out as many times you want. Leave Jason Tatum and LeBron James on.
Damn, poor Ish.
What did Ish Smith ever do to you? That was such a random call.
Oh, man, it's the first thing that came to mind. I'm sorry. Hey, throw out P. Rap.
Shout out to my man Ish Smith. Listen, you got a fan in me.
He cool.
Maybe not a fan of Jordan, but I'm here.
Okay. All right. So I guess tell you what, fellas, we're gonna have to figure out how to fix these ref situations and these ref issues because I don't want to harp too much on this here topic. I feel like this really could take up the rest of the episode, honestly. So let's go ahead and speed past and talk about it. I want to get personal with y'all, fellas. You know what I'm saying? So I need to know this one thing from y'all. Possibly, actually, no, it might be 2. The number 1 NBA team and player you don't want your team to go up against. I'm talking about you scared to go up against this person. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to put y'all on the soapbox. So, Reese, we're going to start you off proper. You know what I'm saying? Give me the first me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Who's that number 1 team and player? And it does not have to be the same person on the same team. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I'm going to be honest with you, everybody might not like my answer, but I'm going to quote Jalen Brown here and say, this ain't no track team. We ain't running for nobody. Okay? We want everybody. There's neither player nor team that the Boston Celtics ain't trying to match up with. Line them up, they get knocked down. Next off. Yep.
All right, so clearly we don't understand how to follow instructions. We're just going to speed past that.
Okay.
Somebody, anybody, help brother out.
I would probably go. I would just knowing my team.
Are you gonna go again? Okay, I'm gonna
go again. I'm gonna get you on the story. Sorry, my fan took over. But I would probably say just versus my team, player wise, would probably be like a Shai or Jokic. Mostly because Boston doesn't do well with tall guards and like legitimate bigs. And then team wise, it would be the Orlando Magic. They just have our number right now. The guys went to Twitter last year after like winning the in-season series, and I'm like, only this year we got them in-season tournament game and they beat us by 13. I'm just like, all right. So I guess I should just buy real estate in Orlando now because that's where I'm going to be going for like a real marquee matchup for the next 10 years. So yeah, I'll just say that.
All I'm gonna say is you're gonna love one of the topics one of my selections I make later on in the show. That's all I'm saying. But okay, I see that too. But they got y'all boys. I don't know. It's crazy. Jordan, let's see. Let's see if you can hold us down. Reese wanted to be inefficient. He had to get 2 attempts. Let's see if we can get you
running from nobody.
You on mute, by the way.
That's tough.
Who's your number 1 team and player that you'd want your team to avoid? Talk about them 76ers.
I don't like talking about the 76ers, but I will for this situation. The number 1 player I don't want to see is Henry Butler, right? I don't for some reason he different in playoffs, generally speaking. And he don't like Philly because we ain't give him that money. So I want to stay as far away from Jimmy Butler as possible. The team that I don't want to see, Milwaukee or Boston, which I'm gonna have to see one of them. I'm a little bit more confident in us against Milwaukee right now because they still haven't figured it out. But Boston got a 5-out 2K rec squad over there with a center that's 7'3" that can average 2 blocks a game if he feels like it. And Joel couldn't shoot over Al Horford last year. So I'm gonna say Boston as my team, Jimmy Butler as my player.
Okay. I mean, listen, I can't be mad at you going up against or not wanting to go up against MJ's kid. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Jeffrey Jordan is a tall task. Shout out to Jokic and them boys for winning, although I think that brother was injured. It might have been a different discussion. So I do feel you on that. Brandon.
4.0.
You said, stop it. Yeah, that's. Well, who would have got swept, Reese? Who would have got swept?
The Miami Heat. The outcome would have been the same.
That's so.
Yeah, that's honest.
They lost in 5 with him injured.
They weren't a good team.
Hey, they
weren't a good team.
All I'm saying is they was all right. Max Strus is holding me down somewhat in fantasy basketball, so they had some weapons. They had some weapons.
Think about the name you just said. That's all I'm saying.
Max, keep doing what you're doing, maybe. I just need you to keep hooping us off my fantasy squad.
Ish Smith and Max Strus, we're just lining them up, aren't we, Jordan?
Look, we talking about role players in the finals that we ain't heard since they left the team.
Role players matter, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Talk about
Look, they paying them boys.
I'm crying. See, that's my bad. See, we got off topic. My fault. I was gonna swing it to Brandon too. Brandon, I need your number one player and the number one team. You don't want your team to go up against. So, and just clarification, who's your team again?
See, this is the weird part about it. When it comes to the NBA, I don't have a favorite team. I have favorite players, but for some reason, I just was never able just to pick one team just to stick with when it comes to the NBA. But I am a LeBron fan, so I guess for this topic, I'll just run with the Lakers. When it comes to a team that I may not want the Lakers to see, it's probably going to be the Mavericks. I feel like even though they just played last night, I feel like, the Mavericks always give them smoke. I feel like Luka's an extreme problem. I don't think anyone has an answer for Luka, honestly. So yeah, I would have to say that.
Ooh, like team and player, just casually. Ooh. Okay. Because I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm a Lakers fan as well. Well, you're a Bron fan. I'm a Laker fan. So I thought you were gonna go a different answer with that one. I was gonna jump in, but I'm gonna wait till Nick go before I get my answer. So Nick, number one player, number one team that you don't want your team to go up against. Which I ain't trying to kick you while your team down, but it is a Bulls team, so it's unfortunate. So who you got?
So judging by this year, the team's basically everybody, every team. But no, things tend to go poorly when we play the Bucks. And for player, I mean, it's Grayson Allen because I don't want my guys to get hurt. So gotta probably say him or Draymond.
Hey, dog. All I'm gonna say is Grayson cool. You know what I'm saying? Like we cool, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know he come from good stuff.
Hey, he was just talking about me with Ish Smith in there.
Well, listen, Ish Smith never tripped nobody.
Hey, look, Ish Smith also ain't ever paid more than 25 minutes a game. But
that's not true.
All due respect to Ish Smith.
Yeah, I think he did. He might have won with actually. He might have won with.
Ish Smith, nothing but respect to you. You're way better at basketball than me, and you're much richer than I am. Keep doing your thing, bro. Max Strus, the same to you.
Okay.
But hey, fuck Grayson Allen though, because that's where we at.
That is crazy. Grayson.
Grayson.
Nick said it. You know what time it is.
But
the gumball machine
ring.
ring.
This is not the gumball machine, okay? This is a real, vintage, authentic Duke championship ring.
Selling them at my
Yeah.
local barber for 50 cents out the machine. That's
Nope. It's on Amazon for I think $15 maybe. But I gotta say for our boys, Lakers, just keep it short and sweet. Jokic is the player I don't really want to go up against if I had to play somebody because I just saw that brother just dog walk up. Come on, little fella. Like I just saw us get dog walk last season. 4-0. Like not being able to win one, not feeling like we could win one while watching is very disturbing. So him, I wanted to say the Nuggets for a team, but I ain't gonna lie. Right now, I might say the Wolves because these boys kind of look a little aggressive. They're young. They seem a little hungry. They can rebound with us. And then Ant-Man, he might be a little too young, but they got a shot to beat us. I do think, like Reese says, I'm not really scared of any team, anybody really, but that is a team I do got my eye on. So I got to say that. But I just wanted to ask y'all boys that question real quick, real fast. And now I just want to go ahead and speed on into the playing games, fellas. I gotta ask y'all about these playing games. Did anyone not like the playing games out of curiosity? Like, was nobody a fan? You weren't a fan, Reese? Oh, you okay? Thumbs up. Okay, all right, that's cool then. So, what was the biggest takeaway from the NBA play-in game? I'm sorry, the in-season tournament for you guys. Nick, we'll start with you.
The biggest takeaway is, wow, this is more of a success than I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you. I was like, I think the cynic in me was like, 500,000, nobody's going to care. Like, the players aren't going to care about that. Turns out, if you give them anything to play for, they'll take it serious. Like, even if it's even if they were playing for the McDonald's, birthday crown, they'd probably go for it. Like, these guys are, these I saw more competitive rigor in those guys than I had in any regular season game for the past 5 years. So smashing success in my opinion. I think we need to maybe adjust a few things, but I honestly not many notes for the first iteration.
Okay. Now, I'm curious what y'all think about this, right? Because we could be throwing high expectations on teams a little prematurely. I think somebody could be looking at the Pacers and saying, "Oh, they got to the in-season tournament finals. Like, why can't they get to the finals this year?" Yeah, I think it's a little bit different, right? So then that makes me kind of think, damn, does this really actually matter? Does it really hold value? Because if we want to look at something like last season, I don't think it's ignorant to say that the Jazz could have very possibly made it to the in-season tournament finals, like the way they were looking early on. So they tapered off. But would they have had high expectations early on? I think it might be selling tickets, selling dreams. I don't know what y'all think from that standpoint. Brandon, is that a fair way to look at that, or you think you don't need to focus on that at all?
No, I definitely think that's something teams should focus on. I feel like every game matters really, bro. I feel like every game really matters, and when you start having that perspective, I feel like you improve, you progress as a team, and you start taking things a lot more serious. You build a lot more chemistry. So I feel like when you have the perspective, when you take every game seriously, like it's your last game, I feel like you make a lot of progress and you get to the point that you want to. So yeah.
Okay. And see, I kind of looked at it like this in-season tournament could be exposing some NBA players because, like I said, or like you said, Brandon, you should be playing every game, and you should be putting some effort towards every game. Like sometimes I understand you want to take off a game, but there should be some matchups that we should be seeing. And the fact that we had to rely on an in-season tournament, I don't know. Like to me, I kind of look at it like it's exposing the players. Maybe you might be calling some of these players a little lazy. I don't know. Like Reese, Jordan, I'm sorry, Reese. What's up with you? What's your thoughts on that? Is that too harsh to look at the NBA players?
Well, I just wanted to respond to what Nick said about playing for something. Those guys get paid a lot of money every game. And you would think that would be enough. Well, I know why it's not, because they play 82 of them. But so I just feel like they should add more tournaments into the season. The tournament spans, 2 months, right? And they should have a tournament every 2 months. If that's what it takes to have people to care about playing regular season games, then, like I said, I think it should just be tourneys all the way up, just like similar to college. I mean, I think it should be tourneys all the way up to the big, world championship, quote unquote, and just kind of run it like that. But I think for the expectations wise,
I think I agree with Brandon wholeheartedly. Once people start actually caring, you will see, we are going to see exponential growth from someone on that Pacers team because of those environments. You know what I mean? Even if it's not 1 through 15, you know what I mean? If you can get your 7th to 8th man to be like, yo, like, I really felt like I was making a difference in those games, or like, I felt like I could have made a difference. And so I'm going to like work towards this. Like, I think that is huge for growth. But like you said, like, kind of just piggybacking over, they said, you got to make the games matter. And so as long as the game check ain't enough, you got to put 500,000. You know what I mean? They said Bron a billionaire, and was out there playing like Zuri was going to eat tonight, and that's what the game all about. And it is what the game's all about. You know what I mean? Bron just likes to be a sicko. You know what I mean? He can't have enough. And he understands that. Everybody did know. Zion, you would think he would care. He would have cared a lot more, being that the way they fizzled out in their trip to the college tourney. So it's like you would think guys like, you know what I mean? I feel like you would take it as another opportunity, especially guys who I said like were able to kind of go far but not make it to the NCAA championship and not win it. You would think like things like this would kind of like get them up. And for some it did, and a lot it did.
Okay. I think it might. I do get that. Playing for something improves the energy, the amount of care you give into a game. Again, it's early on in the season, so maybe you take things a little lackadaisical. I think too, some people kind of just are comfortable being good, not necessarily great. So to your point, you're saying mediocre. So like, you said what? Yeah, mediocre. Yep. So like when you mentioned multiple tournaments in the season, I would actually be curious about something like that, because even though I don't think this in-season tournament has as much value as like people have like, or at least some people that I've heard have like put into it, I think if you add more, it does take away from the value that I do give it. So I'm curious about adding more tournaments, because like there also should be some sort of implication, like playoff implication or something, if I'm going to win a tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm winning. If I win in college, if I win my ACC tournament and I'm not a ranked team, I automatically go to the playoffs. I automatically go to
like that.
That
would be so much better for the play-in. That would be so much better. Yeah. That 8, 9, 10 spots, turn that into what you just said.
Yeah, get rid of that shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I would, and then, Hawaii, Germany, you know what I mean? Let's go play hoops on a boat. You know what I mean? You got so many opportunities to do different things with it. Vegas is just so high.
Okay. Now, Jordan, let me ask you this, because I think people are talking about the play-in tournament, right? You want to make a comparison to playoffs, and I've heard people say, you know what I'm saying, like it shows you, like you might be able to see some things you need to work on, that you could maybe prepare for playoffs. But do you feel like this was an adequate playoff replication that you could do? Like, do you feel like this was would be sufficient for you as an NBA player? Or if you're a coach, do you feel like this was a good sample size for you, or no?
No, but it's a, well, first, I don't mean to be that guy, but it's in-season tournament, not a play-in tournament, because I hate.
I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. I keep saying.
Yeah, you're all good. The in-season tournament, I answer in a bit of order. I liked it in terms of making the game competitive. It was similar to like the bubble when they were playing for seeding with a lot of those young guys, but they're playing for that $500,000. I think it's dope, especially for young talents, young teams, teams that have got like if you notice, you know, Bron is Bron, so he's sick, he's gonna find a way to get there. But the other teams that were primarily in the running were teams with a lot of two ways, with a lot of rookies, a lot of guys that ain't making a lot of money. You know what I mean? A lot of guys that got out early were teams with a lot of guys making a lot of money, right? So I think it's cool to put kind of a spotlight on some of those other professions that we forget about very easily. I thought that was dope. And it is exciting, adding something in the middle of the season. I don't know how I feel about multiple just because it can start to feel participation trophy. But, you know, if it affects something like seeding, then it gets different. So, like, I think that would be dope, especially to get rid of the play-in nonsense because 1 through 8 is supposed to make it. 9 and 10, y'all didn't for a reason. Take those 82 series. We don't need something like that.
That's fair to bring up too. Should the in-season tournament take out the play-in? That's fair to bring up as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I was about to say, we may need to follow that then, because I mean, let's say the Pacers drop. Well, no, I can't imagine them going to the play-in games. I really can't. So maybe if you get to the finals, guarantees you a play-in spot. Is that fair to say? Like, would y'all think that's fair?
I mean, I just think we should get rid of the play-in tournament.
No, I mean, like, I'm sorry, not playing. If you win the in-season champion, or if you go to the in-season finals, should both of those teams automatically get a playoff berth? So you get at worst 8th seed. Is that fair?
I mean, yeah, that something like that could be fair. That make it more competitive for like the top teams. I would say. Okay. But I mean, not the top teams, for like 5 through 10. That make it more competitive for them. 1 through 4 is still 1 through 4, right? But 5 through 10, you'll see a little bit more out of them. So I think
Okay. Now, before we transition, and we got a couple of things to talk about. Does anyone think this thing is banner worthy? Because I don't, and I know we thinking about throwing a banner up there. I don't think.
I'm not thinking about. Y'all are absolutely dropping a banner, and it's gonna look funny as hell up there.
Yeah. No, that should be interesting.
That shit gonna look goofy as hell up there, dog.
And in LA to put up a banner for a mid-season college like tournament would make me so motherfucking happy. That's just so interesting to me. I would love to see it. You put it between the Shaq 3-peat and Magic Johnson jersey. You gotta find a good spot to make it pop. You know what I mean? Let's put it up there. Yeah, that's number 8.
You're a sicko. You're a sicko. Like that's. I just want to let you know when I first heard that, dog. I was eating breakfast and I had to stop everything and just listen, because that was just blasphemy. Like I hadn't even thought of hanging up a banner for this BS, respectfully. So like we still got 16 championships. So I don't know how we holding up this right now. Like I really truly don't. But I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on that right fast.
Put it right up next to the bubble one.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. We got Laker gold and then BS on this side. I can take that.
Bubble shit.
Call the in-season MVP, the in-season MVP award, the LeBron James award, and just sort of that's what he gets.
I did hear someone as an idea.
No, we should name it after Austin Reeves. Name it after Austin Reeves. Name it after Austin Reeves.
No, name it after someone who's really good in the regular season but terrible in the playoffs. So like a James Harden.
Yeah.
Hey.
I like that name. Hey, remember, James Harden, if you're watching this, make that.
Yeah, I'm punching up. You're punching down.
Look, fellas, I think that might be a perfect way to transition on into the next segment. Questionable NBA contracts. Sorry, James, but you are a point of topic here for this discussion. And fun fact, I actually won't go talk about you first, but since your name did get brought up, champ, just gonna talk about you first here. Jordan, what's your thoughts on James Harden, bro? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hit y'all with one person. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about him. If anybody in the panel differs, state why you differ your opinion. If not, though, we're going to keep it pushing to the next person. All right? I feel like we're going to be able to regurgitate some things. So, James Harden. Jordan, how you feeling about the man? Because right now he's on the Clippers, right? I was saying I ain't want him to go to the Clippers. How you feeling about him? Is this questionable contract for him?
I think I said it on the last joint with the recording. He's a point guard, two guard, he can't guard shit. So I'm happy he's not in Philly anymore. Let's start there. I'm happy he's no longer in that jersey. I have no idea what's going to happen for him or to him in free agency. I think he made a horrible business decision in not signing something to guarantee that he, you know what I'm saying, be making some money playing in the NBA, because if he wants to win a championship, he's not going to get paid somewhere else. And he'll get paid to go chuck up shots, but only be in like Washington, right? Like the guys who are looking to make playoff bursts ain't really looking for the system that is James Harden. So I feel for him. I hope he figures it out. But him not signing a deal was an interesting decision, and I'm glad he didn't. And he's out of Philly.
He said, "Glad he didn't." And I'm out of. Okay. Does anybody else agree? Or disagree? Not disagree, but does anybody agree or disagree with Jordan on this topic? Like, we got any Harden supporters? No love for Harden. I mean, Brandon, you look like y'all could be kin, so you ain't got no love for him?
I mean, honestly, bro, I like James Harden, bro. I fuck with Harden, bro.
See, he ain't speak up for you, James, earlier. He don't really like you like that.
And honestly, bro, I feel like him going to the Clippers was more ideal than where he was. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they, they're slowly getting their stuff together. I mean, I fuck with Harden. I like where he's at. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to continue to get better, to be honest with you, bro. And I like Russ coming off the bench there, too. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with James Harden. And he's also on my fantasy team, so, I'm riding.
That's why. Okay, that's why. I was about to say, because I don't like that, man. I don't like Russ coming off the bench. One, he on my fantasy team. Two, I think James is ass off the bench, respectfully. But
Russ should be starting. But
yeah, like, because he was there, he was hooping around, like, I don't know, bro.
Yes.
I should be starting over Harden on the Clippers.
If you're going to play winning basketball, you should probably put somebody in that knows how to play basketball with other players. James Harden's an isolation hooper. He is not a basketball player. He's never even acted like a basketball player in his career.
Personally, I mean, in my 26 years of watching basketball, I've never seen Westbrook carry a team, to anything, worth anything. I mean, in my opinion, the only team that he was on that was winning, the only team that he was on that they were winning, Kevin Durant was the number one on that team. And I feel like, Westbrook definitely harmed the team in a lot of different ways.
Name the starting five that Russ took to the playoffs averaging triple-double. Can you?
So what?
Name the starting five Russ took to the playoffs averaging triple-double.
Name the starting five that Russ took to the what?
To the playoffs.
He took to the playoffs.
The year after Kevin Durant. Not Nick, because I know Nick's the stat guy.
Nah.
Name the starting five that what?
The team he went to the playoffs and averaged a triple-double, he's saying that's 5 on OKC after KD left.
Who helped him carry that squad?
I mean, that squad he carried, right? But I'm thinking about when he faced the Warriors. I'm not thinking about when KD left. The team
we're talking about carrying. Like, and James Harden, if we're being fair, what team did James Harden carry to something? Because if we're talking about something important, we got to mean
for me.
Finals,
I'm not.
I think he mean. Do you mean conference finals, Brandon? Is that what you're saying?
Right, and I'm not comparing who can carry a team the furthest. I'm personally saying for that Clippers team, the best person to be starting at the point position is James Harden. And if you thought otherwise, then I guess you may know something that Ty Lue doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I see it. So Ty
Lue didn't make that decision. Russell Westbrook did. But
right. He made it for the betterment. He made it for the betterment of the team. He didn't make it because.
So you're saying, Brandon, from a fit perspective, James Harden is the best, but not from a talent skill. To be fair, when you bring in James Harden, that is a diva. So you got to worry about egos too, because with him, he does got to like the situation and environment he's in.
In the defense of this lineup change, they are, I think, 10-3 in their last 13 games.
Right.
And James Harden, I think, over those course of those games, is averaging a 50-40-90 efficiency split. So Jordan, to your point, he still hasn't guarded anything to save his life. But once they still haven't figured out like how to run a good offensive set, what the system should be with Harden, Kawhi, and Paul George all on the floor at the same time. But I think once they figure that out, I think Harden will be the better choice as the starter, where Russell Westbrook would be best off as a energy guy off the bench who can come in as the sixth man for either Paul George or James Harden, because he can fill both of those spots, and sort of catch a lot of those bench guys off guard.
I think that's pretty obvious, Nick. I think that's the obvious.
It's not obvious for a lot of reasons. But what I will say is this, and I'll leave you here. When you have three starters, one of them can get a shot in 4 seconds or less. One of them can get a shot in 7 seconds or less. One of them dribbles the ball for 14 seconds before making a decision. You have another guy who can get the ball up court and get a shot off within 7 seconds or less. The 14-second guy is James Harden, which is why coming off the bench and being a sixth man, averaging his 20-something in those minutes, would be better for the team because he'd be a spark plug with the second unit, as opposed to a guy like Russell Westbrook, who is a very much willing passer. James Harden averaged 11 assists with Kevin Durant and the MVP. Don't tell me he's a very much willing passer. Russell Westbrook averaged those same numbers with guys who you can't name. Nick, I'm not talking to you.
Nah,
So
I was like, yes, I can.
So when we're talking about basketball, like when the game slows down and there are game plans for these guys, I'd much rather have a guy like Russell Westbrook who can push the pace, as opposed to a pick and roll guard that is primarily looking for a floater or a 3-point jump shot, and that's about it. In the playoffs. That sounds good.
Look, I was going to say, it sounds like what I'm hearing is we're going to have to resurface or revisit the James Harden discussion. Because I got to say, Jordan, when you and I were talking, right, I told you, too, I'm kind of on the fence about that James Harden situation because I don't believe in the Clippers winning a championship. But I did say, too, though, for the record, there is a world where they can win a championship as well, too. So I don't like the situation, but we're going to have to revisit it, though. Because, like, to Nick's point, they are 10-3 right now. We can talk about who they've had to play or all this stuff, but they are 10-3. So,
right, which is
let's move this to another group. And last time I asked one player, right? This time I got to bring up two, because in these boys I got to bring up because, well, Nick and Brandon, y'all talked about them last time, and y'all said they weren't really worth their contracts, and y'all really talked badly about this team too. But Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. If y'all noticed, Brandon actually ran away because he didn't want that smoke about the conversation. So we're gonna start it off with Nick. See what I'm saying? We asked the hard hitting questions right here. So Brandon, Nick, I'm sorry, I saw him come back. See, I'm getting old. That's what I'm realizing, ladies and gentlemen. My mind ain't as sharp as it used to be. Nick, what was your issue with Gobert and Cat? Like, what did they personally do to you for you to be like they weren't worth their contract? Because they might be proving you wrong right now.
So I've never been either a Cat or a Gobert hater. It was just seemed to me at the time that where I sort of had that take where neither one of them really was buying into what they had to do to make that team successful. And now they are. And also Anthony Edwards sort of ascending and carrying over the confidence from the international competitions from the summer and everything else that happened. And also a lot of momentum from last season. Him really emerging and having a breakout year has also helped. I think we talked about this in a previous discussion about MVP, about how Anthony Edwards has been playing really well. Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns being the offensive juggernaut and Gobert being capable of being that defensive anchor and being fine with basically catching a few dunks every now and again and just being fine with that and making his money on the defensive end has been huge for this Timberwolves team to succeed. That's how every great team succeeds, is everybody understanding what their role is and where, maybe don't be concerned about the rest. So I'm happy that this team is winning. Also, Naz Reid, I should give a shout out to, because he is like the best third big man in the league. He's like getting 16 points a game behind both Gobert and Towns, and I think we'd be getting like 30 minutes a game on any other team in the league.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is a little backtrack to what you were talking about earlier. That's what I'm getting. Because again, we heard a little slander. We heard a little slander about Cat and
It wasn't working before. Now it's working.
That's word around the street.
Nick, don't let
Brandon,
Trey call you a real. Don't let him call you a religious. You better than that. Don't let him.
It wasn't working before, and now it's working. I'm not gonna front.
Now, Brandon, because I told you we had to get you on the show to talk about Cat and Gobert. Now, I'm glad you found the strength to come back onto the show. You know what I'm saying? I thought we lost you for a second. I know you was a little scared to talk about this, but like Cat, Gobert, talk to me. What's up?
Oh man, I don't know, bro. I would have never paired the two. I'm not a big Gobert fan. I think Cat is extremely soft. I've just never really been a fan of the Timberwolves. However, they still have managed to what do they have? I think they have the best record in the West, right?
Yeah, they're the best record in the NBA, currently sitting at 17-5. Also, I get tied with the Celtics, but no, my bad. They beat the Celtics. That's right, Reese. My fault. Appreciate you. They go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the team is doing well. I personally, I don't think neither one of those guys. I mean, Cat, it's not a lot of very dominant big men in the league. I think Cat, obviously, at this age, bro, and this time, I feel like those max contracts are being tossed around and thrown at people like it's nothing. It's not unlikely for someone to get $100 million plus. Like, you know what I mean? And not even, you know what I mean? So
he's not worth it. Like you feel like he's not worth it.
I mean, I personally wouldn't. You know what I mean? I personally wouldn't. But at the same time, like when you look at the amount of dominant big men in the league, it's not a lot. It's not a ton. It's more. It's a bigger variety of guards than there are big men. So I mean, it's not shocking to see him with that max contract, but I personally wouldn't, and I definitely wouldn't pair him alongside with Gobert. But clearly, it's working. You know what I mean? Clearly, they're doing something different this year. That.
I mean, 22, 9, 3. You know what I'm saying? A steal and a block rounding up. That's not bad from Cat. You know what I'm saying? But I do think too, though, to your point, if you're talking about numbers wise, he could be more dominant as well. Like you might want to see a little bit more dominance. But I think Buddy is just a solid second option at this point. And really, we're just trying to figure out where Ant-Man gonna lie. That's what we're doing. I think everybody found their roles. Also, Carl, like Cat's actually playing this season as opposed to last. So I think that's helping out too. I'm really just happy that they actually make me look not as stupid as I was looking maybe a couple months ago. Because I was saying that I actually didn't mind this team. I thought they could be a top 4 seed. So I'm glad we got it working. So Jordan, Reese, just real quick, because after that we're gonna transition. But are y'all cool with Cat and Gobert or not?
I don't like it, but
You don't like it?
No, I think that this team would be. Mind you, the rebounding numbers are great. Defense numbers are great. I think that a lot of this is predicated on, you know what I'm saying, and coming out and playing extremely well, and giving them an incredible matchup problem at the 2-3 spot. But in terms of how much Gobert's getting paid to be averaging 13 and 12, it's ridiculous to me.
You get 2 blocks too, like the 2 and some change blocks.
$47 million, not enough. I mean, like that's just not enough production for me for $47 million, especially when they gave up 4 players, 6 picks, 4 players, 5 picks.
Yeah. Like I really think the trade messed them up.
Yeah,
like I think the contract value itself might be okay. It's the totality of it, I think. No, it's still contract for you? Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that his contract is ridiculous, and I think that they would still be in a similar circumstance if they hadn't made the move. They still had Vanderbilt and the boys on the team. I'm saying putting another great defensive guy, but now he's not just shot blocker. He's 2 through 4. Saying he can guard in hell 1 through 4 and stuff. So I think that they lost a lot really. And if they had what they had previously, they'd still be in a similar position in terms of winning. But you have 47 million on the books, 4 players, 5 picks over the next 7 years with a 23-year-old superstar figuring it out. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. Playing extremely well.
Okay. Now, Reeks, you feel the same way?
I think that everybody won the trade who was involved. Everybody got what they wanted, including the Cavs, including the Jazz. But I think it has less to do. I think this has less to do with Cat and Gobert and more to do with the Timberwolves winning the 2020 NBA draft. They by far got the best player, and I think really no matter who you paired Ant with down the line, he was going to be able to maximize the talent that you put around him. And although Rudy might have not looked worth it in Utah, he looks more worth it to me in Minnesota, just because like what Brandon was saying, people like Cat has this like soft, like, you know what I mean, thing kind of hanging over his head. And so like people probably were trying him at the rim a lot because, you know, it's a common thing to when people think you soft, it's like, you know what I mean, I'm going to go at you.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So with Rudy now holding it down, like you said, averaging those 2 blocks, I think that the value of his contract is shaping out. I still do think he's overpaid, but I think a lot of people are overpaid. It's really nothing to do with just Rudy. I think a large majority of the league, especially if you ask Paul George, 95% of the league bums. I mean, it should really only be 5% making that TV deal money. But yeah, I think it has a lot more to do with the Timberwolves winning that 2020 draft and actually being aggressive to build around him. Because, you know, a lot of people just sit on talent like that and kind of just wait for the draft to figure it out. But it's like, wow, we got Cat. You know what I mean? We traded for Ant. Let's just go get another piece. Let's see how this next way. I mean, Rudy got like 3 more years left. I mean, Ant.
I think he got 2 on this contract, but yeah, probably 2 more playing years at this level.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like Ant will not even be almost at his prime. He'll be like, what, 23, 24?
26.
Yeah, 25, something like that. He'll be
okay. So even 25, he will still just be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll be inching
that point. Right, you know what I mean? So it's like, all right, cool. The Rudy Gobert years weren't great, but at least Ant didn't have to, like, I don't know, give up his body on defense every day because Rudy was down there holding the paint. I don't know. I feel like it's positive ways to get out of it. There are positive aspects.
Okay. See, I ain't mad at that. Does anybody believe that the Wolves can win the championship this year? This season?
Nope.
I don't think they have the depth on the wings to make it work. But I think Gobert is a perfect example of maybe defense is the most underrated thing in basketball. This man's been a walking, talking number 1 defense in the league. He's number 1 in defensive rating, number 1 in defensive win shares. Like he's had a number 1 defense everywhere he goes. He's a 1-man rim protection. If you have decent perimeter defense, you're a defensive juggernaut. I mean, it's not like guys like Bill Russell and Tim Duncan ever won championships, right? Like
defense does win championships, yeah. Okay. No, okay. You said what?
I thought I didn't even cut anybody off. I was going to say I think that the West is wide open and they have a decent shot. You know, their team. My only. I think we discussed this not too long ago. Not Trey. I don't know the exact word for it. It's like this would be the fact that Anthony Edwards is slowing down. Because he would be the case for that, wouldn't he? Karl Anthony Towns is great for the second option, especially as he's one of the most skilled. As much as I don't like him because he's salty from North Jersey. But like, you know what I'm saying, the dude can hoop, he can shoot his ass off. And Anthony Edwards is a certified bucket. Taking a major defensive assignment, that 2 games. He plays extremely confident. I think that But they still have to get through Denver. I think in the West, they can beat in the 7-game series. They can beat everybody pretty confidently. Like, I'm not saying it's watch series in the West outside of like Denver, because as much as Rudy Gobert's a great shot blocker, he's not a good big man defender. Like when you put a skip big on him, that's kryptonite. But they got a shot. They got a shot.
Okay, they got a shot. Reese, you feel that same way?
I think in the West, it's just been a lot of movement. The Nuggets took advantage of that last year, I think. And so, I mean, I think they have a chance. I mean, the West is wide open. Hell, I think the East is wide open right now too. I think the league is wide open.
It's just an open NBA. Okay.
Yeah, in my opinion.
A lot of parity.
I could see that. I think the old stars and the young stars are starting to, you know what I'm saying, go like this now in the NBA.
Yeah.
That's like, I think this is the first official season that's actually taking place. So, all right, that's a bet. That's a bet then. Well, I was about to say, fellas, do y'all have, we gonna go ahead and close up shop, but did y'all have anything y'all wanted to say before we make our exits?
Season 4. Jason Tatum's MVP candidacy is currently.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but the Magic start with an O and an M.
Trey, I will get up and walk away like I've been doing the last couple shows, because you consistently try to disrespect me at the end of these shows. And so, you know what? I'm going to do it again.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
So you're going to cut that Eagles stuff out. You're going to cut that Eagles stuff out. You're going to stop that.
I forgot he's an Eagles fan too.
You're going to cut that contract. I know where you live, man. Cut that Eagles stuff out. I guess Shea Gilgeous is out there for MVP. And Zion, because if the league hits you while you fat averaging 23, 6, and 4, I can't wait to see you 30 pounds lighter averaging 27, 8, and 5.
That would be a little nice. That would be a little nice. He might bring one of these. He might bring.
Yeah, keep that while you in New Orleans. Come up to Philly. We'll get you on a solid diet with some cheesesteaks.
Solid diet with some cheesesteaks is crazy, but he might take that offer though. He might take that offer, which is wild. Yeah. Nick, you got anything you want to say before we close the shop, bro?
Yeah, weight loss with Philly cheesesteaks might be the wildest thing I've heard all day. Like I can attest, I've had my share of Philly cheesesteaks in my day. I have Zion's current figure. Like, he goes up to Philly, he's going to end up looking like Oliver Miller post-lockout. Like, he's going to look like Sean Kemp out there in Cleveland.
Good vegan cheese spot.
Ain't nobody else going to be with a sandwich where they say you want some whiz on that. Like, no.
Yeah, nah. That's cool. Look. I bet it'll be better for him than whatever they feeding him down there. Come on up here and get you a cheesesteak.
Go to Philly and eat to your heart's content.
And Philadelphia cool with big men being out of shape. Look at Joel Embiid. We good. Come on, right. And on that, we ain't gonna be no late calls, man. Just keep giving us 23. Give me 23, 6, and 5. I'm cool with that. Stay fat. We had Sean too. Dudes, come on, Zion.
Bring back Eddie Curry while you're at it.
I was about to say, look, next week, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm hearing is we probably gonna have to have a conversation about Zion, and we maybe need to revisit this whole questionable contract thing. I don't know now. Now we might talk about Zion. I hope you're watching, bro. We're gonna be talking about you next week. But ladies and gentlemen, please like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Buck, and as y'all can see, I'm with my boys here, Nick, Jordan. Reese left just, that's just how Philly fans are. You know what I'm saying? Eagle fans, they just want to
watch your tone, Trey. Okay. Watch your tone, brother. I know where you live.
And Brandon already said he don't have a team, so he don't really have no loyalty. That's what he told us early on. It's okay. It's fine. We Hey, And the funniest thing is Jordan's over here like frozen. Oh, your screen was frozen, so you were like this. Now I was like, that's gonna be a funny meme right there. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoy it and take care.
Oh, I did not know you guys were still here. As you can see, we're at the back end of the show. No pun intended, but look, hope you all enjoyed it. And before you go, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the IG account, share the content to anybody who's anybody. And most importantly, leave your thoughts and comments below. But I gotta go back and play Buddy in 2K, so let me unmute him real quick. Excuse me. Hey, boss, I'm back. Nah, you better catch this word. You know we get buckets around here, too.